So I'm going to apply to register my son as a British citizen. So if you want to know the questions that you'll be asked, documents you need, and everything that concerns, registering a child as a British citizen in the UK, please stay tuned. Stop that. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Nanelle. On this channel, I talk about nursing, I talk about migration, I talk about life in the UK as an immigrant in general. So if these are topics that interest you, please do consider subscribing. So I've been living in the UK for 5 years now. I relocated to the UK sometime back in November 2018 on a skilled worker visa to come and work as a nurse. Along the line, I got married and I had a baby. I had my baby in 2021. And unlike the US and some other countries, in the UK, even if you give birth to your child here, your child does not automatically become a British citizen. So for those who are eager to get visit visas to come to the UK to give birth, stop. It's wasted efforts, okay? Go to other countries like US, Canada, blah, blah, blah. So although I had residency in the UK, I was working as a nurse. My husband was also a resident in the UK, also having a job here in the UK, giving birth in UK, in the UK hospital. My child was not eligible to get an automatic British passport. Sad and unfair, but it is what it is. So along the line, we wanted to take my child on, let's say, holidays, and we needed to get him a BRP. So I remember we flew with him to London to the Ghana High Commission, because I live in Northern Ireland, so we had to fly to London to the Ghana High Commission to get him a Ghanaian passport so that he'll be able to travel out of the country, and also so that he'll be able to apply for his dependent visa and then get a BRP, so that when I go out of the country with him, he'll be allowed to come back. Because the problem is, if you give birth here and you think you have a UK birth certificate and then you travel out of the country with your child or your baby, when you're coming back, if the child does not have a UK BRP, they will not let your child in. They don't care if you're exiting without a BRP, but when you're coming in, they're going to give you all the laws, and your child will not be allowed to enter. So because of that, and because I knew very well I would like to travel with him outside the country, we got him a Ghanaian passport and we got him BRP, right, as my dependent. That was why he was able to travel to Ghana with his dad somewhere last year, April, and that's why he was also able to travel with us to the US sometime last year, August. Okay, so along the line, last year, October, November, thereabout, I hit my 5-year mark in the UK, so that made me eligible to apply for my permanent residency, indefinite leave to remain. So if you haven't watched the video, I did a video about it where I did a live demonstration on the form, documents, blah blah blah, and even the ILR, I showed it. Hallelujah. So now that makes my son eligible to apply for his British citizen. So if you give birth to a child in the UK, although they do not automatically qualify to get British passport, once one parent gets permanent residency or becomes a citizen, that child qualifies to apply, not for a British passport, qualifies to apply to register as a British citizen. And once they approve that application, the registration as a British citizen application, then you can now apply for a passport for your child. So I'm going to read it. If you were born in the UK, you do not automatically get British citizenship if you were born in the UK. It depends on when you were born and your parents' circumstances. So you need to check if you're a British citizen. It said you may be able to apply for citizenship if you were born in the UK and are not automatically a British citizen. You may be eligible to apply to register as a British citizen if you were born in the UK. It depends on when you were born and your parents' circumstances. If you were born after 1st January 1983, you may be eligible to apply to register as a British citizen if either 1, you are under 18, my child is 2 years, and since your birth, one of your parents became a British citizen, or one of your parents got permission to stay in the UK permanently, or you lived in the UK until you were 10 or older. So now, obviously, he was born after 1st January 1983, and after he was born, he's still under 18, and one of his parents has become a permanent residency, that's me. So now he qualifies to apply to register as a British citizen, and that's what we're going to do. For those of you who are wondering if I should have any more babies now, because I now have my permanent residency, they automatically qualify to apply for a passport, okay? So let's go through the questionnaire and the documents needed, okay? So to be able to make this video fast, I have actually answered all the questions, but I'm going to show you exactly the questions that were asked, okay? Let me just say that this video is proudly sponsored by Lemfi. Lemfi is an international money transfer app, okay, that allows you to send money from the UK, US, and Canada to over 10 different African countries. Talk about the Ghana, talk about Nigeria, talk about Benin, Rwanda, Cameroon, and so many other countries, and with no transfer charges, 0 transfer charges. As a matter of fact, if you also use the referral code Nanelle, and then you make a first transfer of about £100 or $150 or Canadian dollars, you qualify to get either £10 or as much as $20 or 30 Canadian dollars as a bonus. And remember that no transfer charges, and they have the best rates ever. Thank you, Learn5 for sponsoring today's video. So this is how the form looks like, okay? So obviously, there's a personal information section at the beginning where you're going to put your email address. Obviously, this is a minor, has no email address, so I use mine. I put my email there. And then they're asking, are you in the UK? So I put yes, because he's in the UK. Do you have any immigration advisor based in the UK? No. Choose which category to apply under. You are a child under 18 and then I selected was born in the UK, and then one of your parents are settled in the UK. So for him, he was born here and one of his parents, which is me, is now permanent or settled in the UK. So that's the category that he's applying under, because there are other categories as well for those that have lived here for 10 years, blah, blah, blah. And then now they're asking for his name. So he's Mr. Richmond Pipera, okay? When you go to the next page as well, they're asking that, are you now or have you ever been known by another name? He's never been known, so no. Your email, so I put my email there as well. Have you had settlement in the UK? So for him, no, because he still had his residence permit, okay, as a dependent. Are either of the parents or the child, as stated in this application, applying for naturalization as a British citizen or an AN form? AN form, no. Then our postal address, which I put there. Is this where you live? Yes. When did you start living at this address? I put the dates where we moved into this house over there. What is your sex as shown in your passport, travel documents, or birth certificate? I put male. What's your relationship? Obviously, he's a child, he's single. Country of nationality, I put Ghana. Country of birth, I put United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Place of birth, I put Northern Ireland. Date of birth, I put his date of birth there. Do you have a valid passport? Okay, so I answered yes. Then they asked for the passport number, I put it there. The issuing authority, remember we went to London to do it, it's London. And then the issue date, I put it there. The expiry date, I put it there. And then they said, confirm if you can provide this passport. So I said, yes, I can provide the passport if required. Do you have a valid national ID card? He does not have, okay? The third question is, do you currently hold or have you ever held any other nationality or citizenship aside the Ghana one? So we said no. Have you lived at your current address for 5 years? For crying out loud, he's only 2, so no. The date she lives there from, so I put the date where we moved here, and then the date you lived there. So I put where we lived there. They want to know the addresses that he's lived. So I put our first address there where we used to live, where he was born, and then when we moved here. They're asking for insurance number. I said I don't have any insurance number. Then provide a telephone number. I put my number there. And then they said, where do you use the telephone number? I said, for use whilst in the UK. Then now they're asking about the parent or the legal guardian details. They said, which parent or legal guardian would you like to add details about? So first of all, let's talk about the mother. So this is my biological parent. What's her name? Miss Nanelle Griselda N.T., the date of birth, the town of birth, the country of birth, Accra, Ghana. Does your parent or legal guardian share your address, telephone number, and email? I said yes, okay. And then what's your parent or legal guardian's country of nationality? I put Ghana, okay. And then now they're asking about the father. So the same details about the father, whether it is your biological parent, and then their address, and then their nationality. And then now your residency details, they're asking that, do you live in the United Kingdom or a British overseas territory? Yes. Which country would you live in if this application is successful? I stated UK again. Then they're asking of your parents' immigration status now. So they said, are you relying on your parents' permanent residence either as an EEA national or the family member of an EEA national as evidence of their settled status in the United Kingdom? No. He's relying on my permanent status, obviously, but not under EAE or EA. No. So answer was no. Then now we need a referee. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the part that I really struggled. Referee. So they're asking for your referee's title, then their name. So I don't want to give the details of my referee because I have not asked permission to share their details. So I put this here. But they asked that, how does the referee know the applicant? Before you start, you need 2 referees. You have to put this in your mind. One of the referees should be a British citizen or an Irish citizen with a passport and should have known the applicant and should not be related to you. And the another one too should have known the applicant and I think should have a professional job or something. Should be under a professional job like a nurse, a doctor, blah, blah, blah. So one of the referees should have known the child in a professional capacity. Let's say a health visitor or a social worker or a doctor or a GP, like in that sense. And the problem with this is that I called his GP. They said they don't do that anymore. They don't access to passport applications. I tested his health visitor. She did not respond till date. So it was a struggle. So I had to use 2 people that I know. One who's also a nurse and knows my son and has known him ever since he was born and is a British citizen, although he has not attended to him in a professional capacity. But like I always say the truth, especially with immigration thing. And I'll show you where I explained this in there. So I said, how does the referee know the applicant? I said, the referee is a registered nurse and a work colleague of applicant's mom who has known the applicant since birth. Referee's date of birth, I put my colleague's date of birth there. Referee's number, I put it there. Referee's email, I put it there. Is the referee a British citizen? I said yes. Then the next page, they said the second referee's details as well. They asked for the name, the address, the email, blah, blah, blah. And then they said provide all other addresses that the referee has lived in for the past 3 years. So if your referee has moved in the past 3 years, has lived in more than one place, do ask for all those addresses. So I put all of them there. And then they said, how does the referee know the applicant? Again, I said the referee is a registered nurse who has known the applicant since birth. This referee has settled status in the UK. This person is not British citizen, but is a permanent resident. So I put that there. The referee's date of birth, the referee's number, the referee's email. I put all that there. Now, immigration details. Do you have any other details that you would like to be considered regarding this application and the application to be registered as a British? They're asking if you have anything to add. Now you finished the application, now they're asking if you have anything to add. So I had to be honest. So I stated that I encountered difficulties in getting a reference for applicant's passport application from a professional who has engaged with him professionally. Despite reaching out to applicant's GP and health visitor, both were unable to assist. I was told by receptionists at the GP surgery that GPs no longer assist with passport applications. As a solution, a registered nurse who has known applicant personally since his birth but hasn't worked with him professionally was used as a reference. So I said the truth that yes, I used another person who has not engaged with him in a professional level, in a professional capacity. It's not his personal nurse, it's not his doctor, it's not his social worker or health visitor. But the GP said no, and then the health visitor did not respond to my message. How long should I wait? I explained this in there. Now they're asking for a responsible adult for the biometrics. Who's going to bring him for the biometrics to be done? So I put my details there as well. And then they said, Karen, are you living in a local authority care in the UK? I said no. And then now the biometric residence permit details. They're asking, are you able to provide a biometric residence permit with this application? So obviously, like I said, we have already applied for BRP for him as my dependent. He has it. So I said yes, and it is valid. So they asked for the place of issue, his biometric residence permit number, the issue date and the expiry date on his BRP card. And now they gave us the documents that we have to submit. So guys, note these documents down. So one is a passport issued by Ghana. So his Ghana passports, they need it. Then they also need proof of Mr. Richmond's paper, parental responsibility for Mr. Richmond paper. So don't get confused. My husband is Mr. Richmond paper. My son is Mr. Richmond paper. They want proof of my husband's parental responsibility for him. And then they are also asking that if Mr. Pepper told us that his parent is settled in the UK, then you must provide us evidence of their settled status. This could include a BRP or a letter from the Home Office, an endorsement in their passport, or another document certifying permanent residence. They are saying that because my son, if he selected that he's applying based on the fact that one of his parents is settled, then he should provide evidence of this. So in this case, my BRP, you understand? Then also a letter of consent from Mr. Richmond's suppressed parents or legal guardians. The letter must give their full names and addresses, say that we agree to let him apply for British citizenship, and if you have more than one parent or legal guardian, they must both sign the letter and confirm that they agree to what it says. If you only have one parent or legal guardian, they must explain why the other parent is unable to consent. So now they need a letter of consent from his parents to show that we give him full support to apply for British citizenship and sign and say that we have the legal whatever and our address and whatever. 2 referee declarations. So after you have filled the referee's details in the application form, there's also a paper that the referees have to sign and date. If Mr. Richard has a passport, then provide this with your application, so his passport as well. For those, he said if he does not have a passport, then he must provide another officially issued identity document. This could include a national ID card, blah blah blah. And then we also have to prove his birth certificate to show that he was really born in the UK. And then also his current BRP. With this one, we chose the standard service. In fact, there was no priority service, and we chose the standard. And apparently it takes up to 6 months, unfortunately, and it was £1,214 for this, and it can take as much as 6 months to get a response. So now you give your consent. So I selected yes, and then the declaration. So guys, these are the documents. Once you do that, this is the exact thing that they need with the reference. The referees, this is the form that you print out from the website and then give them. You glue a photo of your child here, and then the referee will go over it and sign. The requirements for a referee. It says each referee should know the applicant personally. That's number 1. Where the applicant is a child applying, one referee should be a professional who has engaged with the child in a professional capacity, such as a teacher, a health visitor, social worker, or minister of religion. For an adult application, one referee should be a person of any nationality who has professional standing, like a minister of religion, civil servant, or a member of a professional body, like an accountant or solicitor, who is not representing you with this application. And it says for all applications, the second referee must normally be a holder of a British citizen or passport and either a professional person over the age of 25. So it's a lot with the referee. One should be a British citizen and either a professional or over the age of 25. They should know the applicant's personality. And if it's a child, it should be somebody who has engaged him in a professional capacity. And if it's an adult, it can be anybody of any nationality who has professional standing. So it's a lot. Is a lot. The referees must not be a relative, must not be a solicitor representing you for this particular application, must not be related to the other referee, must not be employed by the Home Office, must not have any convictions, must know the applicant personally, and be willing to give full details of their knowledge of the applicant. And then they will put their full name, signature, the date, and then they sign. So this is like a serious legal document. And then the parental consent. Obviously, they also gave us this form to sign. So the father will sign here that I, Richmond Pepper, father of consent to blah blah blah, and then there's another part for the mother as well, and then I'll sign. And then if you have a guardian who's not the biological mother or the biological father, there's a part for them to sign as well. And all these things, the two referee forms, then the consent from their page as well, and then the letter. They also asked us to write a letter. I'll show you the letter that we wrote soon. So here is a screenshot from the payment successful, and then they gave us a reference number. Obviously I can't show the reference number. And the visa category is apply for registration of a child under 18 as a British citizen. Now if we go to the checklist that they gave us, document checklist 1, passports, the Ghana passport for my son, proof of Mr. Richmond Pepper's parental responsibility. So for the proof, what we did was the letter of parental and his birth certificate, because his birth certificate has both of our names on as his parent. And then my BRP, then a letter of consent from Mr. Richmond Pepper's parents. So the letter as well, I'll read the letter to you shortly so you have an idea of what we wrote. And then our marriage certificate, and then the 2 referee declarations, and then passport pictures, his passport, his BRP, his birth certificate, that's my son. So these are the things that we needed. So obviously then we're sent to another platform to book an appointment, and then we selected the date. Okay, so fingers crossed. We're waiting on the response from the Home Office. Immediately it comes, I'm gonna do another video, give you a timeline, and then share every other detail that is needed. So let me read the letter and then we'll say goodbye. This is the letter that we submitted, okay, and we both wrote letters each, one for myself, one for my husband, right? And the content is the same, but this is basically what we wrote. But before I read the content of the letter, let me just say that I'm not an immigration advisor, okay? So do not let this replace professional immigration advice. The fact that I wrote this and was successful does not mean you write it and be successful. Okay, so this is what I wrote. I wrote that consent to register Mr. Richmond Pepper as a British citizen and confirmation of parental responsibility. Dear Sir or Madam, I, Miss Nanelle Griselda NT, hereby write to express my full consent for my son Richmond Pepper to register as a British citizen. Additionally, I confirm that I hold parental responsibility for Mr. Richmond Pepper together with my husband, Mr. Richmond Pepper Senior, into bracket, so that they don't get confused. Furthermore, I want to affirm that my husband and I were married prior to the birth of our son Richmond Pepper, because I think it was in there as well, and remain married and live together as a family at the above mentioned address. So I wanted to let them know that it's not like he's somewhere or we are together. We are one happy big family, okay? And we are happy for him to do it. Because usually when it's let's say you're a single mother or you're a single dad or you're not married, they would want to make sure that the other biological parent is aware and consents and so much paperwork. I have consistently upheld and will continue to exercise parental responsibility for our child. I firmly believe that my role as a responsible, loving parent will not change in the foreseeable future. I understand the significance of this matter, and I kindly request you to process Richmond Pepper's registration as a British citizen accordingly. Please let me know if there are any additional documents or actions required from my end to facilitate the process. The same thing, then we signed and dated and attached it to all the documents that I've already shared with you, and then we submitted. So basically guys, that's the situation. Okay, obviously fingers crossed, I'm praying hard. If I should get a response from the Home Office, I'm going to do another video, to let you know how long it takes, and then if they ask us to bring other documents or whatever it is. Okay, so basically that's that. Okay, so fingers crossed, give me your prayers. Thank you for watching. Bye.